Hello folks, Mark Stennett here at Columbia Crawl Space, and today's question is, do I need a sump pump for my encapsulated crawl space? Well, that depends on whether or not you have groundwater intrusion or not. If you do not have groundwater intrusion, then Columbia Crawl Space is not going to try to sell you a sump pump or perimeter drains. But if we determine that you've got groundwater intrusion, which is usually caused by poor grading on the outside of the home, meaning that your yard slopes toward your house instead of away from it, or if your gutter downspouts are not routed away from the house so that when it rains, the water from your roof gets carried away. If you don't have your downspouts routed away, then that water is going to get dumped out around your crawl space, and that water is going to eventually find its way in. So if we determine that you've got groundwater intrusion, then we've got to find a way to get that water out. And sometimes it requires a sump pump, but that's always our last resort here at Columbia Crawl Space. We always want, if at all possible, to gravity flow that water out. And so what we do, whether it's a sump pump or we're able to gravity flow it out, it usually almost always requires what we call a perimeter drain. So we install a perimeter drain around the inside of the crawl space, and we catch this water as soon as it comes in, and then it gets routed to a sump pump. Or, like I said before, if it's any way possible, we're going to route that water outside and just let it quietly run out on its own. And so what we do is we look to see if we can carry that perimeter drain that we've installed around the inside of the crawl space. We look to see if we can extend it on outside the crawl space and carry it to an elevation low enough out in the yard to where it can run out on its own by gravity. But sometimes crawl spaces may be recessed down in the ground to the point to where we can't find an elevation low enough on that person's property to get it to gravity flow out. But that's always going to be our first choice, because if you can gravity flow it out, you don't have to buy the sump pump, and you don't have to listen to the sump pump, and you don't have to maintenance the sump pump, and you don't have to explain that sump pump to a potential buyer should you decide to put that home on the market.